make, you take care of everything, destroy, worry about that. But then at the same time, you implement their cultures, but you kind of change it to where it's our being. It's no different what we've been doing with the Romans. It worked for so many years for the Romans. Why is it not working for us?
And the process is called cultural imperialism.
And it has worked. It worked when England took care of us.
That's right. It works. The question is it what you want? You as people want. Do you want your government to behave this way? Because this is the way we have behaved as a nation since the end of the Civil War. We didn't do this before the Civil War. We have done this since the end of the Civil War. And we've done it for a number of reasons, which we've rationalized to ourselves. We're there to do them good. Well, let's take the case of the war in the Philippines around the turn of the last century, 1900 approximately. We had a war with Spain in 1898, and once we kicked the Spanish out of the Philippines and numerous other places, the Filipinos wanted us to go. And we decided we were going to help them. And we were going to help them by showing them how to do government.
I don't see why it's a big issue when we make a profit.
That's why we wanted to help them.
That's why every nation in the whole entire world does it.
In the process.
That's why England came over here. That's why Spain came over here.
In the process, we killed 350,000 people.
Big whoop. It happens.
But understand, we've only been that way. We have only practiced that as a country.
We've been practicing that as a country before we even became a country.
No.
Yes, we have.
No. The English did that.
Which our mother nation is
We
England.
rejected England and broke from England.
And then we started going out west.
Well, yes. So what?
We kicked the Spanish out of Florida, and we went south.
Well, okay. You can argue that the territorial acquisitions within the boundaries of our country were part of the same thing. And some people have argued that manifest destiny, which was the primary philosophy in the 1830s to the 1840s, represents an early form of imperialism. That's a good argument as well. But what you're dealing with, for the most part, is land acquisition. In other words, I'm taking other peoples who are different and I'm pushing them out. Versus, I'm going to come in, I'm going to take over what you have, and I'm going to make you like I want you to be.
So you agree that it's okay for the Taliban to make more terrorists, have women not go to school, and having young men who are ages 2 to 5 become a soldiers?
No, I'm pointing out that
that's why we're over there.
There's ways to stop that. It's called absolute populational annihilation. We've done that in the past too. Yeah. Okay. So
you think either totally annihilate a people or make them understand where we're coming from? See, have them see another.
Well, let me ask you a question. You made an interesting statement at the beginning. Are they learning?
The majority of, the army, the Afghan National Army, yes, they are taking what we have taught them and putting it into.
Why? Because we're paying them.
Why not? They're not getting paid. They're not. You rather the Taliban to pay them, or do you want us to pay them? Because I'd rather pay them and have them fight on our side than having more planes or something come over on our side.
I'd rather the palace deal with it.
Do what now?
I'd rather have the palace deal with it. England, let it be England's problem.
But England doesn't fight. They send us. NATO and UN always sends the U.S.
True. Question is, do you want to be sent?
It's bringing a paycheck home to my family.
I agree.
It's what makes me pay for you to come up here and teach me.
No.
I pay out of my own pocket
True.
that the government has given me to So it's benefiting you as also.
Question. Well, I'm not exactly sure, I'm not exactly sure.
I paid $2,000 to sit in this class. I think it benefits you enough.
True, but it doesn't necessarily benefit me enough to agree with the idea of imperialism, which is what the point.
Okay, so you think it's okay. All right, if we go back to your theory that no, we should have never expanded, then we will only have those 13 colonies, if that, right now in 2013.
No, I don't necessarily agree with the idea that manifest destiny was imperialism.
But
We would have the
Hawaii now, and we have
wouldn't have
Guam,
Hawaii.
and we have the
Would the
Virgin
Hawaiians be
Islands.
better off? Would the Guamians, the Filipinos?
They're under our protection.
Do
Alaska
you
is
want
under
to
our
be the
protection.
policeman for the rest of the world?
If it makes it a better place, if we can take care of our territory, then so be it. If it makes my husband have a good college education, if it makes me have a good college education, so be it.
So you're willing, for personal reasons, to
It's
acquiesce
all
to the idea.
personal reasons. That's America. That's our world today. That's why
Are the
we
rest
have,
of you willing to fund her husband to go do these things? That's the question you have to ask.
you pay taxes.
Yeah, I know you pay taxes. That's part of the whole argument about what's going on in Washington right now. The Washington that is the imperial state that demands more and more of our resources, that we can't stop from taking our resources, that this was not the way things were before the Civil War.
You elected them.
Let me help you out. I also teach government. It's my other field. You don't want to get me started about how little you know about the election process as an average American, because it's.
I remember that from my class.
Yeah.
There's things
You
going
don't-
on that.
You don't
Oh,
want
trust
to know.
me, I do know about that.
You wouldn't sleep at night.
I have a hard time sleeping already.
Yeah. It's bad, and it's getting worse. And every state, every country that has ever followed the model that we're following, the imperial model, always backed by democracy or backed by it's not often called democracy. It's often called popular will. Okay, it was same back during Rome. Okay. The last state of the Roman Empire ended with that. But the pattern holds. It doesn't really matter what country you're talking about. It always comes to the same end, and that is the country's absolute destruction and decline. Typically, they spin themselves into a hole they can't get out of, attempting to exert control around the world for whatever reasons, and at the same time provide services and things at home. Guns and butter, as it used to be referred to back in the Johnson administration. The end result is that the country falls apart, and it's typically a very ugly fall apart. So, you can have it one way or you can have it another, but it's kind of like that stupid commercial on TV, the car guy, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. Okay, but we're going to be having fun this semester.